Friday, May 18th on the Just Baseball show. It is Power Rankings Day. I wrote some power rankings on justbaseball.com, 30-1. We're going to go through all of them. I'm also going to draft my So Rare team live on the podcast because Jack made a great TikTok. He was like, this is a bad day for the haters. You think you can beat us in fantasy baseball? Prove it. We got a league. It's completely free. Download the So Rare app and try and beat us. But before we get to any of that, Jack, we were talking pre-record about the deceptiveness about some of these young prospects, right? Like we were watching Mason Wynn make this unbelievable play. And then we're like, wait a minute, he could be a sophomore right now, comparing him to Zach Neto, who's now on the Los Angeles Angels. So run us through that exercise before I run us through the enormous exercise of power rankings.
Quick non-baseball thing, and I'm going to say this quietly because I don't know how thin or thick the walls are, but I just met the meanest dog ever, and he lives a couple doors down. He's a pit bull, and he lunged at me.
Oh, you can't perpetuate the anti-pit bull narrative.
But like, dude,
I thought it was going to be a crusty white dog. To be honest.
Dude, this was a mean ass pity, dude. Like
that's
it was
rare.
Bad.
You're starting off the podcast on such a bad note.
I'm sorry.
Yeah,
okay, so getting to the exercise now.
Pit bulls are harmless 99.99% of the time. The crusty white dogs are worse. I'm just saying that. I'm just putting that out there. But I'm sorry. I'm sorry that happened to you.
Yeah,
I'm not that sorry. Rescue. Maybe it was a rescue from a horrible operation.
I listen, Godspeed to the owner who rescued that dog. But yeah, I'd say I'd put the odds on BetMGM. By the way, use promo code JustBaseball or JB fans at BetMGM. I'd put the odds at like minus 500 or minus 600 that pit bull beats the shit out of me within the next month or so. But moving to the baseball conversation here. Yeah, Aram said, it's deceptively crazy how young some of these high school guys are. So naturally, I concocted an exercise. I want you to rank these guys from oldest to youngest. Brandon Pfaadt, Matthew Liberatore, Gavin Williams. Go.
Aram probably already knows, so I'll go first.
I can't do it.
I'm going to go, I think Brandon Pfaadt is the oldest.
Okay.
I think I'm going to go Gavin Williams. I think Matthew Liberatore is the youngest. Gavin Williams is second, and Brandon Pfaadt's the oldest.
So you've got it spot on. I think that's pretty crazy that Gavin Williams, first round pick in 2021, is 100 days older than a guy that was a first round pick, traded as part of the Arozarena deal, has been a failed prospect, and has now had a career resurgence all before he turns 24 years old, or like before he turns 24 or 23 and a half. I mean, it's crazy like how much a Liberatore has gone through before his 24th birthday compared to some of these college guys.
To put it in perspective, when he was traded for Arozarena was technically still a prospect.
Yep.
Like, think about it that way. When Matthew Liberatore was traded for Randy Arozarena was still a prospect, and he's younger than Gavin Williams and Brandon Pfaadt. And that's why sometimes the psychology around prospects is always a little interesting. And the reason why we got into this conversation was, it was you, Peter, that asked, like, do you like Zach Neto or Mason Wynn more? And I was like, oof, that's so tough. I love them both, but I'd probably defer to Mason Wynn, because Mason Wynn could still be in college right now, and Zach Neto didn't graduate, but played his 3 years. And like, imagine what Mason Wynn would be doing at Campbell right now. So it is interesting. Like, obviously there's more to it than that. We're seeing Jackson Holliday at 19 years old tear through the minor leagues, but it is always a nice reminder sometimes that these high school guys, like, it takes time, and it feels like they've been around forever, but they're young.
They are young. Power rankings time. I, on justbaseball.com, wrote up 30 through 21, weirdly enough. So we're recording on Thursday. What's Thursday? May 18th. 7 weeks to the date. We were going to do a 50 game kind of power rankings, but I didn't make any picks today. So I'm like, you know what? I want to whip up some power rankings. So at the 7 week mark, this is what we're doing. So of course, these stats may be a little bit delayed. Of course, we have Thursday's games, and then you're listening to this on Friday. But these are stats as of May 19th or May 18th. We'll go 30-1. We'll go in bands of 5, and Jack and Arm will be the people who dissect the power rankings and tell me if I'm crazy or tell me if I'm a genius. I think I'm a genius, so let's get into it. The A's are at 30. Any disagreements?
I think they're doing something that's pretty smart. They have identified Jack Caglione as the Victor Wembanyama of the MLB draft process.
Yeah.
And they think that they have the next Shohei Ohtani to come right the ship when the A's move to Vegas. So I'd actually put them at 1.
Or the next Brendan McKay.
Sure.
Oh,
sure.
God.
I prefer closer to Ohtani than Brendan McKay.
All right, now we get into a new tier because the A's are 10-35 with a run differential of negative 161, and they sit in last place of the AL West. Now we'll actually go in bands of 5, but we'll start with this one in 4 because the A's are in a tier of their own. At 29, I got the Kansas City Royals, 14-31 record with a run differential of negative 62, sitting in last place in the American League Central. The Cincinnati Reds come in at 28, 19-24 record, run differential of negative 33, fourth place in the National League Central. Then we go to Colorado and look at the Colorado Rockies at 19-25, run differential of negative 25, last place in the NL West. And then we have the Washington Nationals at 26, who I think are better than the Rockies and the Reds. That's why I put them at 26, but they're almost in a different tier, weirdly. Last place in the National League East. Any disagreements on that bottom 5?
Not really, like where you're kind of just like saying who's the least terrible. But the one thing that is interesting is like the Reds are a tough read for me because you look at the lineup, it's pretty brutal. But you know, they could call up a couple guys, and I think it'd be like very speculative to assume those guys could come up and make an impact. But like I could see a path to the Reds being better, and I think I almost think that the only thing I'll say is the Royals and the A's, I think, are in their own tier of crap.
That's
and then I'd even put the
Royals.
I'd even put I know, but I'd almost put the Reds in a different bucket. Like I look at the Royals rotation and I'm like, that is so bad.
But hear me out for a second. Graham Ashcraft now is an ERA near 5. I know that was elevated because of a core start, but the reality is that Graham Ashcraft in his last couple of starts has not looked good. Nick Lodolo now on the IL. Hunter Green, kind of similar to Ashcraft, like the ERA keeps creeping up. And then, like, the rest of the rotation is not very good. The bullpen is good at the top end, but then it falls off. And it's like, I love you, Spencer Steer, but he's being asked to, like, be the entire offense. I know TJ Friedel is there. Jonathan India is off to a good start. Tyler Stevenson is a good. Jake Fraley again.
Rake Fraley.
Rake Fraley. Like, they have good players, but the top should be the rotation, and the rotation hasn't been that good. And it's like, damn it. And then you look at the run differential and they're already in a bad division and they're not playing that well. It's like, they're not as good as I want them to be.
I'm with you. Not dying on that hill whatsoever. Bullpen, other than, the bullpen's actually been better than I thought, but like, obviously like that'll slow down a little bit. I'm not fighting for the Reds here. The lineup is not compared to the Royals. Like, is it,
the Royals lineup is better. The Royals lineup is definitely better.
The Royals lineup's better. So, call it what it is. Hopefully Matt McClain can give them a little boost, Encarnacion Strand. But I agree, like the pitching is the big issue with Lodolo, like not coming back anytime soon. And Andrew Abbott kind of running into some hiccups in AAA, like a lot of prospects do when they get called up to the highest minor league level. I don't see the pitching situation getting much better anytime soon. So I'm with you on that.
Jack, you pissed at anything?
No, so like you say that Cincinnati's a tough read. Like I say that Washington's a tough read for me because I would rather watch a Reds game or a Rockies game than a Washington Nationals game.
Fair. I'd rather watch a Nationals game than a Rockies game, but okay. I agree on the Reds.
So like I would rather watch a Reds or Rockies game over a Nats game. But then when I do find myself watching the Washington Nationals, I'm like, wow, Lane Thomas doesn't suck. Wow, no. Josiah Gray has figured something out. Wow, Mackenzie Gore is punching out 11.5 guys per 9. Yeah. Like, I can appreciate what those 3 guys are doing. I can appreciate CJ Abrams getting a bit hotter as of late, and he's had a couple of big homers, too.
He's a great defender now, too, which is pretty cool.
So, like, I do have a bit more optimism for the Washington Nationals that I went into this season with. I thought they were going to be a nothing burger, and they're not a nothing burger, which I appreciate.
No, they definitely aren't the worst, which is a lot better than last year. So, I agree. You got to give them credit there.
How about going from a nothing burger to like a pretty solid starter? Josiah Gray's been sneaky good, guys. Josiah Gray, that trade, Kyber Ruiz. Yeah, well, sneaky because he's on the Nationals, and I
Yeah.
think the collective public is like, oh, Josiah Gray, remember how many he give up 7 home runs a game, and like people probably aren't turning on Nationals games, so they don't know what he's doing. But he has been excellent. Mackenzie Gore has been excellent, and even Trevor Williams is just like getting outs.
Yeah, he's been getting outs.
Just getting outs. That's
Yeah.
the name of the game. Get outs. We move on to another tier, and the bottom of this shit tier, Chicago White Sox coming in 25 with a record of 16-28 with a run differential of -61. They're 4th place in the American League Central. We got the Detroit Tigers coming in at 24, 19-22 run differential of -48, but they are 2nd place in the American League Central. So I know Tigers fans are going to be a little bit upset with me, but a run differential, they'll show you the real story. 23, I got the Cleveland Guardians, better run differential than the Tigers, but 19-23, 3rd place in the American League Central. Then we got Arms Miami Marlins coming in at 22 with a record of 22-21 with a run differential of -54, and they are 2nd place in the National League East. And rounding out this tier, the Philadelphia Phillies at 20-23 with a run differential of -29, 4th place in the National League East. Aram, do you disagree with the Marlins being that low in the power rankings?
No, actually, though, as we are recording this, the Marlins are now 23-21. Yuri Perez picks up his first career win, which is pretty cool. 299 more to go. But this is a team, obviously, the Marlins, you look at the roster, they are so bad in terms of like the offense right now with Jazz out and things like that. So, no, I have no issue with where they're at. I think they're in a pretty fair spot given the terrible run differential. You got to respect the fact that they're winning baseball games, though, and you got to respect the fact that they are hanging in there. So I think you accurately place them based on the run differential while still respecting the fact that they are winning 1-run games and, you know, are a better team than they were last year. So no, I think it's a good spot for them.
They're a funny team because last year they were killed in 1-run games, like, and you were like, all right, regression is meant to happen. They're going to win a lot of those 1-run games. But now it's gone from they were baseball's unluckiest team, or at least one of them, to baseball's luckiest team. And that's reflected in the run differential. If you straight up look at how many runs they've scored versus how many runs they've allowed, they're in the bottom 5 in Major League Baseball, or at least close to it. But they have been winning games, and you got to respect winning games. So that's why I put them at 22. But again, I can hear arguments for other sides. Jack, what do you think?
I like the placement of the Miami Marlins. From this block, my biggest takeaway is, oh my God, the AL Central is awful.
Not very good.
Awful.
Yeah.
I mean, Minnesota, like, I don't think Minnesota's a top 10 team. You may think that Minnesota's a top 10 team. We'll get to it. Yeah. So there you go. But like, this division is so bad. The Royals, you mentioned, are in a bucket with Oakland. Aram did. And I don't think that's disrespectful to Kansas City. I genuinely think Kansas City's really bad. I see the White Sox lower on the power rankings, like in a worse spot than the Tigers. And I'm like, hold on, we can't be serious. But then you realize that Lucas Giolito is the only guy in that rotation that has had a commendable season at this point, and call it commendable if you want, like a 3.9, and the peripherals are not that good, is my understanding. Like,
that's your understanding is correct.
This is a train wreck. Shout out Jake Berger. The guy's mashing and he's fulfilling this prophecy. Lou Bob is hot as fuck.
Lou Bob is crazy hot.
But Andrew Benintendi, I think I saw one of 6 qualified hitters with no homers so far. What happened to this Arkansas Benintendi? That guy was my favorite player ever.
He's due.
What happened to the Royals Benintendi?
No, Royals Benintendi had no pop either. But
he hit a home run by now. I promise you that.
It's so bad. Sean Anderson is at CHGO. I don't know if it's CHGO or CHGO. But you know, CHGO, he's one of the White Sox guys, and he's doing a Conforto versus Benintendi home run tracker, because really it came down to those two, right? For the White Sox to fill right field, it was Conforto or Benny. I think Conforto's at 9 and Benintendi's at Zippo, which is just a tough eat.
It's so funny, though. I wanted to put the White Sox higher because I've been watching this White Sox Guardians series, and they have been destroying baseballs. And then I go look at the standings. I go look at the run differential. I'm like, that was like their first couple wins in a very long time. Yeah, like that historic rant on, Chicago White Sox radio was not that long ago. But I can't just move them up because they score 7 runs in, 2 straight games against Peyton Battenfield. Like, I can't just move them up. And when you say, all right, are they really worse than the Tigers? I mean, yeah, they have a worse record and a worse run differential. Like, what do you want? What do you want me to say?
Sorry to delay the next band, but like I've been down bad, like just surfing through whatever I can find in the catching ranks. Because the Marlins have a historically bad catching situation right now.
You want to talk about the Guardians catching situation? Mike Zunino? Okay, yeah, continue.
No, so that's the craziest part. Okay. Mike Petriello did a dive. He did a dive, and I'm glad you mentioned this. That looking into, of course, the Guardians have to have the worst catching situation, maybe in the modern era so far. And he does a dive. He finds out they don't have the worst catching situation in 2023. That's actually the Miami Marlins. So, yes, I understand Mike Zunino 0 for 30 with 20, whatever. I understand that.
No,
the Marlins
let me quantify
worse.
for you. Let me quantify for you. 0 for 26. 0 for his last 26 with 20 strikeouts.
And somehow that's better than what the Marlins have got right now. So, Jack, I ask you, does your cheap ass owner Jerry Reinsdorf, the Michael Jordan merchant over there, does he eat any of that Yasmani Grandal contract and send him over to Miami?
Absolutely not. He's probably like, we got to wring this towel dry of all it's worth, man. I mean, we're not moving this guy for the life of us.
He's got one more year.
I know.
18.25 million. He's kind of raking right now. He is actually
raking.
Out rake. How's the defense looking?
How's the defense for Grandal looking? That dude
can't
is
move.
The clearest 34-year-old catcher you've ever seen. He wears every day of his life at 34 years old.
He is the oldest 34-year-old man on planet Earth.
Jacob Stallings begs to differ, and I think he's 32.
Yeah, but Stallings has a bigger glove than most catchers, which is like kind of an endearing quality.
Why does he have a first base glove when he catches?
I don't know.
Because he's
edgy.
And he can't frame.
Give me Grandal. Let's talk trades later, Jack.
I'm in.
Just flip him. Season's over anyway. All right, number 20. We're rocking with the San Francisco Giants, record at 20-23 with a run differential of -20. They've been okay. But how about the Pittsburgh Pirates? They're at 19. Even though they have a record of 23-20 and a run differential of +13, that could be something that Pirates fans vehemently disagree with. But, let's have the debate. At 18, I have the Cardinals, who have a worse record. Slightly worse run differential. They have a record of 18-26 with a run differential of +9. They are last place in the National League Central. Then we get to the Padres at number 17 with a record of 20-24, the run differential of -8. And then the New York Mets, record of 21-23 with a run differential at -18. I want to run you guys through a stat. And this comes from Danny Vietti, who does really great work for CBS Sports.
Yeah, he's great.
The tweet, why the Padres offense is struggling. They are hitting 196 with runners in scoring position, worst in Major League Baseball. They have a 208 batting average with just runners on base. Guess where that ranks? Worst in Major League Baseball. Guess how many strikeouts they have with runners in scoring position? 108. Guess where that ranks? Dead last in Major League Baseball. They have 18 strikeouts with runners on third base. Most in Major League Baseball. They have a 42.1% strikeout rate with the bases loaded, which is the highest in the National League.
Yeah, that explains. It's hard to score runs that way.
Yeah, it is.
That's a tough way to score runs.
Do you guys have any debate with the Pirates at 19? I thought I was going to get some hate for that because, of course, they have a positive run differential. They are 23-20. They are second in the National League Central. It's just I've been watching this Pirates team lately. I'm like,
just watch the team.
They're not much better than the Reds. Like they aren't.
They've been horrible the last couple of weeks. And dude, I'm all in on a fun Pirates story. I still think the Pirates are going to be far better than last year when it's all said and done. But like, they've dropped a majority of their games over the last couple of weeks, and I mean that's kind of what we expected, right? We expected them to be a pretty mediocre team. I think that they're in the right spot there. I don't think they're very good.
On the contrary, I was thinking Vince Velasquez and Rich Hill were going to have Cy Young caliber seasons, and it looked like that was the case for the first month. And I am floored and appalled and disgusted that they are not performing to that April level anymore.
Yeah. It's weird, right?
Man, I think you ask any Pirates fan, they agree with you at 19. Like, I don't think you've got any Pirates fan that's trying to shove them farther up the rankings because of what's happened lately. And baseball is the what have you done for me lately sport. And Pirates haven't been that 20-8 start.
Yeah. And I'm going to say I agree with Mets over the Padres because of those numbers you highlighted. I have more faith in the Mets finding ways to win ball games right now. I just with the way that their lineup looks, especially with Pete Alonso heating up, they call up Mark Vientos. Their lineup is just way deeper, and the pitching situations are fairly comparable. If anything, I think favor the Mets, if I'm not mistaken.
Mets just beat the Rays today, 3-2. Taj Bradley versus Tyler McGill, and they won that game.
Yeah.
Well, and think about what just happened on Wednesday night, right? Mark Vientos has a homer in his first game back up at the Mets, and then Francisco Alvarez ties it with a 3-run homer in the ninth, and then Pete Alonso walks it off with a homer. Like every single run came from a home run in a big spot from an intriguing guy. Like that's what the Mets can do. I don't think the Padres can do that.
No, you need some different level of guys to step up that just aren't on the same caliber of upside of a Mark Vientos or Francisco Alvarez for those guys. So now I'm with you on those rankings.
When Austin Nola hits a crunch time homer, you can hit me again. Like
Campuzano comes in and comes up big. Like, I'll wait for that.
Okay, so the Cardinals are in last place in their division, in a very bad division, and I still have them at 18th. Or where do I have them? I have them at
18th.
Yeah, 18th. Any disagreements? I mean, they're kind of heating up, and
they're playing good ball. Yeah. They're playing good ball. And another team that I like that they called up Liberatore, and Liberatore looked good, overall in his first start. And I think that this whole thing's been a shit show, but at the end of the day, Wilson's back at catcher now. I think that the lineup is starting to look better. We talked about Goldie absolutely raking. Like, I don't love this team as, the favorite to win the division or, a World Series threat. I think we've seen a lot of vulnerabilities here. But in terms of being better than the band of teams that you just put it with, yeah, they are. Even with a worse record, I'm taking this team.
Phenomenal. Let's get into the top 15. And we start with the Chicago Cubs. Their record is 19-24, but they have a great run differential at plus 22. I think they've been playing better than their record. They're third place in the National League Central. Then we get to the Boston Red Sox at 14, who have a 24-20 record with a run differential of plus 16. They are last place, though, in the American League East, which I think by far is the best division in Major League Baseball right now. At number 13, the Los Angeles Angels with a record of 22-22, but they did just beat the Orioles, and they have a run differential of plus 7. They are third place in the American League West. Number 12, the Milwaukee Brewers at 24-19 with a run differential of plus 1, but they are still first place in the National League Central. And then we get to number 11, the Seattle Mariners, who have fallen below expectations to begin the year at 21-22, but they still have a very good run differential, and I will never give up hope on this Mariners team. So maybe it's a little bit of bias, but I still think that they are very, very good. And there's just so many guys in their offense I expect to heat up. But do you guys think I'm being too biased with the Mariners? Did I overrank them here? What are your guys' thoughts?
So I have come to terms with something personally, and that is that I think I might be an LA Angels fan because I just think that they're a lot better than they actually are. Like, this is a team that hovers around 500, and I think that the Angels are a more talented team than like some of these, other teams that you've got at the back end. Like, I think the Angels can be a better team than Milwaukee. I think the Angels can be a better team than a couple teams at the back end of the top 10 that you've got here. But that's a character flaw, and I'm willing to admit it. No, I mean, like Seattle, think about what we've seen from Bryce Miller. Think about what we just saw from George Kirby again. And like Logan Gilbert's been good, and Luis Castillo's pitching like a frontline guy. But obviously the offense,
Luis Castillo's been kind of stinky lately.
Yeah, but he was so good for a month, and
he'll be fine.
Yeah, he's going to be fine. You have that talented four, even when Ray goes down, and just like you, I think it's impossible to look at this lineup and say they're not going to get better.
Yeah.
So this is where it becomes like roster versus record thing.
Yeah.
Like why Brewers behind Mariners? Like, I understand because you look through the Brewers lineup and like, it's not great, but they just like win ball games. Yeah. I don't know how, but they win ball games. They're a solid team. They're 5 games over, right? And they're in first place. Like, why Mariners over them right now? I could see like in the power rankings in a month, but why right now?
Better run differential, and they're in a better division. And it's also slightly biased because I just watched that Brewers versus Cardinals game where I watched Corbin Burns take on Liberatore. And I just watched the Brewers get shut out in like Liberatore.
I mean, they are the worst team in Major League Baseball against left-handed.
Yeah, like I was just like,
are you kidding me? Flaw. Like, that is a fatal flaw.
No Brandon Woodruff right now. I was just like, I don't really believe in them. Like, I like them. I think they're fun. I think they weirdly could win this division. But like, come playoff time, like, this is my ultimate fate. Like, they will not last in my opinion.
Miley hitting the IL hurts when Woodruff is out. Miley was pitching to a 3.6. So, I can get with that. And then the only other question, like, again, I don't have any like, ooh, I disagree with this. Just like question. Red Sox fans are definitely going to be like pissed because they have a better record than the Angels. But I think it's impressive that the Angels are where they're at with Mike Trout really playing poorly, by his standards, but poorly over the last like 20 games. And you figure that's going to change. But why Angels over Red Sox, who technically have a better record in the best division right now?
I think that the Red Sox pitching is so bad.
It is bad.
That, I mean, they're bottom 5 in ERA. Their bullpen is not very good either. And they're just on this crazy offensive stretch. And like, they've also been in games where, in Fenway Park against this series with the Mariners, wind was blowing out crazy. And like, a lot of these offensive numbers are incredible for the Red Sox. And, maybe I'm overlooking them a little bit, but I just think moving forward. But again, these power rankings are about really right now with a slight edge of like, I am looking forward, right? Like, it's very easy to just rank, who has the best record and just rank them by that. So there is a level of, I look at the teams and when it's close, who do I think is better? And I look at the Angels. I think the Angels have a better rotation. I think the Angels have a better bullpen. And when you look at the offense, I think the Angels can hang with the Red Sox. So that's why I put them slightly over. And I think at the end of the year, the Angels will have a better record.
I agree with that. And I think a big wrinkle in this is Kenley Jansen's recent struggles a little bit, because that was a strength for them, especially with Chris Martin. He was banged up for a little bit. Now he looks all right. He looks healthy again and looks good. But yeah, I think Jansen not being lights out as of late, like that hurts a lot more, because when you don't have that lights out closer and you've got a rotation of, I know Chris Sale's shown flashes, but I'm just going to tell you what the numbers are. Chris Sale, 5.4 ERA. Tanner Houck, 5.48. Nick Pivetta, 6.3 going
and in the bullpen. Probably. Yeah.
Jinx. Corey Kluber, 6.4. Brian Bayo, 4.4, who I actually like Bayo, 4.45, looked great last start. I said before the year that I thought Brian Bayo may end up leading their team in F4 in terms of pitching staff. And I wish I could have bet that, because I probably would have got sick odds on that. It might happen.
Actually, I don't think you would have gotten sick odds, because I think that just would have been the answer.
Which is like crazy, given that he started in the minor leagues. Paxton did look good in his first start. We'll see. That's a big X factor.
Let's see James Paxton in August.
Correct. But that says enough right there. And then the bullpen, we could go through it all. A lot of bad ERAs. Their best ERA was Schreiber, and he's out. So yeah, I can understand that. I think there's a path to more direct success. So over the next 2 weeks, let's say, I think the Angels win more games. And that's kind of how I wanted to approach the power rankings if I were doing it. Like, you're looking at what they've done so far and then what they're going to do in the immediate future before the next power ranking update. And I think in that light, I have more confidence in the Angels.
Like the Red Sox don't have a Carlos Estevez. They don't even have a Matt Moore, right?
No.
And like, Jaime Barria is this swingman guy for the Angels. I keep watching him. Like, when I have my bets in and Jaime Barria comes in for the Angels, I'm like, fuck yeah. Like, we're getting outs here. It's every time he comes in, I think he's nasty, and he just
I use him in So Rare.
Yeah, I think I'm gonna probably pick him on my So Rare team when we draft at the end. Like, I love him.
Yeah, I actually use him in there. The one thing I will say about the Sox, though, is like what they're getting from Jarren Duran's incredible. He looks like something has clicked. I don't think he's gonna have a 1,000 OPS, but something's clicked there. Verdugo is playing for that contract he was begging for before the year. He looks really good. And then Devers is going to play better. Like, Rafael Devers is not going to be an 820 OPS guy. So there's better days ahead for the offense, Casas too. But again, like, they are getting by on some miserable pitching right now, and that won't last.
Yeah. Anything else, Jack? Any other disagreements?
Oh, Jack, you're here?
Yeah. Hey, guys.
Oh, nice. What's up?
No, I have no other disagreements. I'm chilling.
All right, cool. Number 10. The freaking Arizona Diamondbacks come in at number 10. They are 25-19. They have a run differential of +16, and they are second place in the National League West. We get to number 9 with the New York Yankees, who are slowly heating up. They are 25-20 with a run differential of plus 19, but they are 4th place in the American League East. Toronto Blue Jays, we're starting to get into the freaking just insane teams. Blue Jays are 25-18 with a run differential of plus 19. They are 3rd place in the American League East. Then you get to the Houston Astros, 24-19 run differential of plus 31, 2nd place in the American League West. And this people might disagree with. The Minnesota Twins come in at 6 with a record of 24-20, with a run differential of plus 42. And they're 1st in the American League Central. Does anyone want to rip me to shreds for the Twins or start at any place else?
No, can I start with Arizona at 10?
Yeah.
Obviously they're young and exciting, and I love what they're doing, and I do think that they're in the 10 to 12, 13 range. Concerning thing for me is it's kind of been home run derby against Brandon Pfaadt in the early goings. Oh, yeah. And with Jameson not in that rotation too, like that rotation may be a bit thinner than I was hoping for. Not expecting, because they were relying on a lot of young guys after Gallen and Kelly, especially after they DFA'd Bumgarner. I like watching Ryan Nelson, and I love watching Pfaadt because he's a top 100 guy, but I only feel confident when Kelly and Gallen are on the hill. Like that's kind of my gut feeling with the Arizona Diamondbacks.
But to that point, it's hard to find a better pitcher in Major League Baseball than Zach Gallen this year. So Correct. It's one thing to just like have confidence, and it's one thing to be like, I'll take Zach Gallen against pretty much anybody in Major League Baseball right now. And Merrill Kelly just keeps doing his thing.
Kelly's great.
Keeps just doing his thing. And then the offense is so good. The defense is so good. The base running is so good. And then the bullpen is fine-ish. But and maybe again, slight bias comes in. I'm a human being. I love watching Arizona Diamondbacks baseball. It is just so fun. It's so fast. Reminds me of Cardinals baseball.
Yeah.
How so?
The defense, the speed, the playing as a team unit, right? Like it's not all on one guy. It's just, Josh Rojas leads off. Then it's like Carroll, and then it's Marte, and then it's shitty pitching. And then it's, I feel like they're very similar. Like you just have the speed, you have the defense, and then you have the offense where you're not reliant on one individual guy. So that's the comparison that I make between the two.
I mean, I love this offense to Peter's point, because I see both angles here. Because to Peter's point, 1 through 9, and I know they've had some frustration with
Perdomo is the best shortstop in Major League Baseball.
Yeah, and I mean they have Dom Fletcher step in here, and is he going to hit 375 all year? No, but This is a guy that's great bat to ball. Like I like him a lot. Like I really like the bat. Rivera's been good. Nick Ahmed, like he is so good as a utility, like bench guy that is at least hitting his own weight. If he does that, he's very valuable. And then we know what they've got top to bottom. 1 through 9, everyone's hitting. So you don't really get an at bat off. And even your catcher's hitting 321. I want to see him slug a little bit more, but that'll come with Gabriel Moreno. To Jack's point, the thing that makes me really torn, and I would have really struggled to rank the D-backs here because I love their lineup with the best of them. 3, 4, 5 in this rotation. I think almost every single time they play, they're at a disadvantage.
Kind of ass. Yep.
Brandon Pfaadt's been probably my biggest disappointment of the year so far. You know how much I loved him as a pitching prospect. He came out, the stuff looked a little diminished in the minors. We talked about that start 1. We broke it down on the call-up, and we're like, whoa, this doesn't look right. And it just doesn't seem like he's been able to get back there since. 7 home runs in 14 innings.
It's
what the hell is that?
It's so bad.
Ryan Nelson has shown signs of life, but like he hasn't been good. Tommy Henry, I don't want to see that guy starting games. So it's a mess.
Pitching okay. Like weirdly enough, like
he's
that's
better than the other two.
Okay,
he's got a 5. That is better.
Does he have a 5 ERA?
13 Ks, 12 walks.
Okay.
They need to put Jameson back in there. I don't even like Jameson.
Can I take it back?
Yes, you can take it back. I'll let that go.
I take it back. All right.
So that's the thing. Like, I would prefer to see Dre Jameson starts over what they're getting from 3, 4, and 5 right now. I think Ryan Nelson's the one that like I'm cool letting him ride at the major league level, but with what's happening to Pfaadt right now, I mean, this guy's confidence has to be in the gutter through his first couple starts in Major League.
Dude, a home run every other inning.
It's so brutal right now.
Didn't 5 of those come against the Rangers, who just will not stop hitting, and we're about to get to in a second? Like, and that was his debut on the road in Arlington, where the Rangers, like, they don't give a fuck who you are. They just rake. And this is without Corey Seager. That's why they're very high in my rankings. And people will be like, what, the Rangers? I'll tell you why. but it's like he's gone through a couple he needs a start against.
I mean, his last
the
start
A's.
was reasonable against the Giants. He went 5 innings, 1 run, 3 walks, 5 Ks. Only
That's what
one
I'm
home run
saying.
in that one.
So
I mean, it's better. Signs of life. If Fott follows that up with another couple good starts, then I'm going to feel a lot better about this situation. That said, I love this lineup and defense so much that, I can totally get with that ranking. And they've been playing better baseball than the Mariners right now. So
Yep.
I got to be okay with them at 10.
Yeah, I guess if I were to do it, it would probably be Milwaukee at 10 and Arizona at 11 with
That's
Seattle
fair.
at 12.
I can understand that.
I can understand. Yeah, I could get that. I think they're all in that same tier. And it's like you put them in a hat and you just kind of pick out. I just enjoy watching Diamondbacks games more than I do those
They're
other
definitely a
teams
more
right now.
dynamic team.
And I could just see the picture. And I have Arm and I, we locked in Arizona Diamondbacks over 74.5 wins. So I'm so fired up about that. The biggest one of the preseason. So excited about that one. So I'm a human being, so bias comes in. Anything on the Twins, right?
No, I've been pro Twins since before the season. I'm all in on this Twins team, and I think they're only going to get better. Royce Lewis has already looked great in his rehab games. That's another guy that they add to the fold. The pitching, I mean, Joe Ryan looks spectacular. I love this Twins team, so I'm all the way in on them. I've got no problem with you throwing them as high as possible. The one that actually stands out to me a little bit, and I know they're starting to play like the team that we know, but Blue Jays versus Astros right now, I might lean Blue Jays, but Manoah's struggles might be I don't want to put it on one player in a team power ranking, but Manoah's struggles are a pretty big wrinkle in this whole thing. That's an interesting toss-up. Like, I could go either way.
Here's why I went.
That's what I would
Astros.
consider.
Here's why I went Astros. Better run differential, very similar record. When we just look at record right now, 24-19 versus 25-18, but Astros are at plus 31 while Blue Jays are at plus 19. I look at the Blue Jays and I see Chris Bassett's got a 3 ERA with like a 4.9 expected. I see Yusei Kikuchi, mid-3s ERA, like 4.9 expected. Brios, same kind of thing, except his ERA is a little bit higher. I think regression is coming for those starters, but at the same time, I think positive regression is coming for the hitters. So I think they're just going to be a very good team all year. But when I look at the Astros, they've performed similarly to the Blue Jays already without Jose Altuve, without Michael Brantley, without Lance McCullers Jr., Luis Garcia on the IL, Jose Urquidy on the IL. This has not been a healthy team, and they're just still out gaining other teams with the better run differential. And I even wrote in the article, I was like, enjoy this time now, Astros haters, because this is like the worst baseball that they're going to play all season long. I just think it's the Astros. Yeah. Like, they're going to win the division. They might win the World Series. So that's why I just put them slightly over, but that is not an indictment on the Blue Jays, because I think the Blue Jays are a fucking train. Like, when the Yankees have been playing well against the Blue Jays, and I'm like, how are we winning? Because they are just so good, but the bats haven't really been there for the Blue Jays. They're known for their offense, but it's like Springer has been shit. Varsho has been shit. Alejandro Kirk, we're talking about bad catchers right now. He's as bad as it gets. So that's why I was just like, the Astros are playing hurt, and they still have a better run differential. And the Blue Jays don't really have any injuries, but they're still very good. That's why the Astros 1 spot higher.
At what point do you get worried about Kirk, by the way? Because, like,
too good of a hitter. Like, am I supposed to worry? Nah. I don't know, though.
I'd be, only reason I say worry is it's like, shit, did we trade the wrong catcher? And I was always like, again, we rehash the trade all the time. I got no problem with the value swap. I just think when you trade a 70 hit to a catcher with athleticism like Moreno, you better be damn sure that you've got the right catcher at home and that the player that you're getting is the right player. And I'm pretty sure that Varsho is going to be a good player for a long time.
Me too.
I don't know how long is a player like Kirk going to be good? I don't know. I think he'll be fine, but it is something that like would start to be stewing in my mind a little bit. I'd be a little worried about, just the fact that you did trade it's hard to find a Gabriel Moreno. You don't find catchers like that. You don't find catching prospects like that. I appreciate what they did, and I think it could make their team better in the long run, but you better hope that Jansen and Kirk can hold up their end of the bargain, or else that one's really going to hurt.
Credit to the
Yeah.
Blue Jays. Danny Jansen, the best pinch hitter of all time, I think.
Sure.
He's awesome.
But Danny Jansen also hitting $188 so far. So like you've got that tandem struggling. I love that Varsho is getting better quickly.
Yeah, he'll be
because
fine.
Varsho, like he was under the Mendoza line a month into the season, and that looked like brutal because Gurriel was hitting the ground running. And
I know,
Gurriel was
which is
awesome.
crazy.
He's adjusting. Canada.
Yeah, like Gurriel and Moreno have both been great. Varsho adjusted, and now he's up to 217, and he's got 6 homers and 6 backs. The separator for me, honestly, is like, obviously the Astros bullpen is great, but I think that this Blue Jays lineup is so good with that front three. Like that 3-headed monster right now of Chapman, Bichette, and Vladdy is demonic. It's so good. And then I look, like Bassett had a great outing against New York on Wednesday. He shoved. And like, if Bassett's shoving, I feel better about Gausman riding that hot hand. And like Manoah may be a lost cause, but Kikuchi has shown spurts of brilliance, some spurts of idiocy, but for the most part, like I like what I see from Kikuchi. The thing that jumps out to me, Romano's been fine. Eric Swanson's been awesome. I love watching Meza, and I freaking love Nate Pearson in this new bullpen role.
Mm-hmm.
He's going to be a star reliever.
I agree. And just, Arm, do you ever think he's going to make it back in the rotation?
I think they got to keep him there, like AJ Puck kind of type of thing, with a little bit less of a laundry list of injury. But I was like hoping they do this earlier. I'm glad they did, and I think you just got to take what you can get here with Pearson, which is a great reliever instead of running him into the ground. I'll play the video one day. I'll show you guys his delivery. The head yank that he has is so violent. Like his head is like this as he's throwing. And I'm like, dude, if he throws 80 pitches a game, he might break his own neck. So I think it's just better, like for his longevity, to be a reliever. His delivery, you hear low effort delivery. Usually they just use that as a reason to say like, okay, I like this guy.
Got good mechanics. Yeah.
They rarely say high effort delivery. That's a high effort delivery over there. Go check that one out.
Yeah. Carson Fulmer, high effort delivery.
Yeah.
He was electric.
Yeah,
Phil
but high
Bickford,
effort delivery.
Talk about a high, Phil Bickford. His delivery is insane. One thing to wrap up on the Twins before we get into the top 5. Name me another team with 2 guys who are top 5 in AL Cy Young right now. That's Sonny Gray and that's Joe Ryan. When those 2 give you 6, then you go to Griffin Jax, Jorge Lopez, and Yohan Duran. The game is over. You are not scoring. They rank number 2 in starter ERA. The bullpen ranks around league average because the 5th and 6th guys are fucking horrible, to be as respectful as possible. That's how bad they are.
That was a pretty respectful way of putting it.
But the back end of it is so damn good. And Bailey Ober will not allow a run. He just will not allow a run. He doesn't want to. And I respect the hell out of him. Yeah. Why are you laughing over there, Arm?
Because you like to be as respectful as possible, and it was like the most disrespectful thing possible. And Jack was like, "That was a respectful way of putting it." Sorry, that was just good. Can I say one thing on the Twins though?
Absolutely.
Bailey Ober might be him.
He is him.
Jack. Remember when we had an Ober Mize bet? I'm not trying to rain on Mize's parade.
No. Celebrate that one.
Well, I want Mize to come back. I want Mize to be successful, but Mize is still. Yeah. I mean, one of the biggest blowouts in bets in the history of bets. Ober as a 1.78 so far this year, 28 Ks, 7 walks, 6 earned runs, and Casey Mize, I hope is throwing from 60 feet at this point. But I really want Mize to succeed, but Ober actually looks really good. The thing with the Twins rotation is we're it lacks the top end arms, right? That was our concern. It's it's a lot of 3s. Well, 2 of the 3s look like 1s. And Pablo should settle into being that 3. But the thing is the depth arms, I think, are quality depth arms. I'm okay with Louis Varlin being my 5. And I think I'm okay with Bailey Ober being my 4. So if Tyler Mahle was healthy, man, this team would be in business. But the 4-5 they've got there is great. I feel really good about that, given what they're getting out of their top 3. And then they've also got Chris Paddock coming back at some point this year as another. That's a depth arm, though. That's 6. That's 6. Maeda hopefully will be healthy. That's 7. Simeon Woods Richardson. That's 8.
That's amazing.
This team went from 0 pitching to a pretty good pitching situation despite Tyler Mahle being hurt. I love what the Twins are doing over there. And then that's not even considering the fact that the offense is sick. Like Joey Gallo's got a 900 OPS, even with some guys struggling. Miranda sent down to the minors. Like guys are coming up, they're plugging them in, and they're succeeding. And Royce Lewis will be back very soon. And that's with Carlos Correa hitting like shit. Respectfully.
Jack, Arm just invited you to suck it.
Yes. Yeah, I know. And Ober started in Indy right before he went up. And I watched him like carve. I think it was 6 shutout in Indianapolis.
And you're like,
and I'm just sitting here I'm sitting here punching air.
I didn't get a text. I didn't hear anything.
Yeah, of course I was cricket. But no, like I want Bailey Ober to succeed. The thing is, it was funny. Like my partner turned to me during one of the inning breaks and was like, he's getting so many swings and misses for being 91, 92. I'm like, yeah, he's just fucking weird like that. Like, I don't know what to say. He's 6'8" and he throws in the low 90s, but like it works.
Talking about getting punched in the face. You're about to get socked in the face because you said punch me in the face if Stetson Bennett throws a pass in the NFL. He was drafted in the 4th round. You two and your bets just with no upside for either of you. You just make claims and you're like, you can kill me if this happens. What do I get? I'm like, sure, I'll take the bet.
Speaking of getting socked in the face, that's another arm that the Twins have. Jordan Balazovic, he was supposed to be good, but he got clocked in the face, broken jaw. I don't know what his deal is now, but yeah, that's another arm that could be in the mix.
Speaking again about
real quick, I saw Balazovic top at 99 last week. Do with that information what you will.
No way.
It might have been a hot gun. I didn't check the portal.
Dude, it could be the hottest gun on earth. He wasn't doing that.
It was like 97.
And he got some 97. Freak strength from getting clocked in the jaw.
Yeah. Shout out. Apparently, that's not a nice Canadian, Jordan Balazovic.
No.
On the same page of kicking dudes in the face, Yennier Cano has not allowed a run yet. At number 5, the Baltimore Orioles are 28-15. They did just lose to the Angels, so make that 28-16. The run differential is plus 32, second place in the American League East. The Texas Rangers come in at number 4 with a 26-17 record. Their run differential is plus 87, and they are first place in the American League West. We got the Los Angeles Dodgers at 28-16 with a run differential of plus 57. Then you got the top 2. The Atlanta Braves, 27-16, run differential of plus 62. And then, of course, the Tampa Bay Rays at number 1, 32-12 record, a run differential of plus 122. And they are first place in the American League East. Yennier Cano has allowed 4 hits in 21 2/3 and no earned runs. He is the story of Major League Baseball, and coming in second in terms of storylines is the Rays losing Drew Rasmussen, Jeffrey Springs, and just throwing out nobodies and just winning game after game after game. Braves are still amazing. You know, the Dodgers, we thought that they might be out of it. Then they won 11 of their last 14 in May, catapulting up this division. And the Rangers, how can they be any lower than 4? They rank 4th in OPS offensively. They rank 4th in starter ERA. And the problem with them has been the bullpen, but they just pummel teams. So it's like 7-1 in the 6th. And it's like, yeah, the bullpen gives up 3 and they win 8-4. Like, it doesn't matter. They just are crushing teams right now. And then you got the Orioles, who the problem is starting pitching with the Orioles, but Bradish, he's made tangible changes. His fastball is terrible, respectfully. And he's just throwing his slider and his curveball more back to back to back. Really good starts against the Braves, the Pirates, and then the Angels. Braves and Angels, 2 of the best in Major League Baseball against right-handed pitching. He's shoved against them. Then you look at, other guys like Grayson Rodriguez. He's just going to get better as the season goes along.
I hope he can work through that. That's the big X factor, I think, because he's shown flat. We talked about him on the call-up, like flashes. I still agree. I think he'll get better. There might be some bad starts on the way, but I agree. I think he has to get better.
And Tyler Wells is just flat out good.
Yeah,
he's just flat out good. And then they're going to get John Means back. And then if Dean Kramer's your 5, yeah, he's not the best 5, but he's not terrible as a 5 starter. And that's their weakness. They have just a really good team. And they're so good offensively. And Gunner's been struggling. Like they're just really, really fucking good.
Yeah. I've got no issues. Honestly, my only gripe, and it might be honestly, no, I'm gonna stand by this one. I feel good about this one. I actually, and I know this is you're gonna be like, oh, you might be right, 'cause you like the Rangers a lot too, but I'd almost lean Rangers over Dodgers because I know the Dodgers are playing good ball right now. I know they are, but Nate Eovaldi, like he is on an incredible, or is it over? Or is he still on it? The scoreless streak. He's
ended.
It ended. He gave up a run, I think.
He gave up a run. Okay. John Gray looks like John Gray we thought he could be away from Coors. Martin Perez looks like a fine middle of the rotation arm. Andrew Heaney's been back and forth, and we'll see, if DeGrom ever pitches this year. That's the big question. But I think that you look at the Dodgers rotation and it name value, it's better. Also, Dane Dunning being able to fill in and be what Dane Dunning has been incredible. But I look at the rotation situation. I think they're pretty comparable. There's just a lot more name value, especially with Dustin May going down now. I don't know. Did we get an official report on how long he's going to be out?
I think he's out.
So apparently shut down for a month. Right?
Okay, so that factors into these power rankings. Yeah. Again, I don't think that this is wrong. I'm just saying what I would do, because I think the lineup right now, I'd take the Rangers lineup. I think, is that crazy?
It's not
with Corey
crazy.
Seager healthy. I think that's the best middle infield in baseball, if I'm not missing anybody. Josh Young swinging it really well, or at least pretty well. Jonah Heim looks like the best catcher in baseball, not named Will Smith. Ezekiel Duran is one of my favorite pieces in baseball because he's played all over. He's 24, another deceptively young guy, hitting for power, just impacts the game in so many ways. And then Leody Taveras, another guy. He feels like he's been a prospect for a decade. He's 24, elite defender. I think he might have figured it out. This team is pretty flawless top to bottom, and that's with Mitch Garver on the shelf.
I don't think you even mentioned Adolis Garcia there. Did you mention Adolis?
I don't think so.
Ribbies.
Yeah, he's leading the league in RBIs like Adolis Garcia.
Oh, that's pretty good. Yeah, he's on pace for 200.
He's amazing.
Yeah. I mean,
he's 46 ribbies in 42 games.
This lineup is on fuego right now.
Robbie Grossman doesn't suck.
Doesn't suck.
Yeah. There we go. That's nice. Are you sure Tampa's? Yeah. Are you sure Tampa's the best team in baseball?
I think they're pretty good. Yeah.
You think so?
Yeah, I think they're pretty good. I'm curious though, because I have a counterpoint to Aram. It's not really a counterpoint. It's just how I made the list and changes I made. What do you think? Rangers or Dodgers at number 3 and 4?
Jack?
Dodgers.
So
ask me why.
All right, I'll see you guys later.
Why? Yeah, why?
Yeah, why? Speak.
I don't know.
No, man. Podcast, bro.
Yeah, I mean, the Dodgers, I almost provide more value in precedent. I provide a ton of value in knowing that you have consistent star power and Mookie Betts and Freddie Freeman. Adolis, while I think is really good, could fall off a cliff very soon. Jonah Heim, while I think is really good, can fall off a cliff very soon. I just don't see a Mookie or a Freddie Freeman doing so. Now, I could see James Outman doing so, and he started to taper off a little bit, but he's still been the best rookie in baseball. I could see David Peralta cooling off big time. I could see Max Muncy not hitting anything, and he was really struggling in the early.
You could see David Peralta cooling off from a 556 OPS.
He had 900 OPS in May. He had a brutal April, but he's been heating up big time.
He has been heating up. Yeah.
God, he must have been so bad.
He was.
I don't even know if he got a hit in April.
He was terrible.
Yeah. Will Smith also looks like he's going to win the MVP.
Yeah,
he looks like the best player.
Right, and that's a guy that I actually place some, consistent value in because again, he's done it over the course of his career. This guy's going to get a bag when he hits free agency.
So with May out, Kershaw, Arias, Gonsolin, who's looked good. Yeah. Syndergaard.
Yeah.
Is that 5?
That's 4.
4. Who's 5?
Who is 5 right now? Who is 5 right now?
That's the point. Do you call it Gavin Stone?
Yeah. Who's 5? We're definitely forgetting somebody.
I don't think so. May's out.
Yeah, May is out.
They have. I think they're asking who's 5. I think the Dodgers might be having the same conversation right now.
I mean, the Rangers are asking who's 5 without DeGrom. and they put in Dunning, who I'm sure the Dodgers can find.
Look, I am not going to die on this hill, but I thought it was a fun conversation.
I'm so glad you brought it up. My first draft of these rankings, I had the Rangers number 3 and Dodgers number 4. And I was writing them and I'm like, hey, Ben, shout out Ben Bellotti.
Go.
Incredible.
Enjoying his senior week. Happy graduation to our guy.
You know what? We're going to drop his Twitter in the episode description. Can you give him a follow, please? Can you give him?
Yeah, please follow Ben Bellotti. Please follow Ben Bellotti. He's great on Twitter. He does. Basically, he's been putting these shows up for us on YouTube since we started. And my guy needs more clout. Ben Bellotti, for graduation, give him your gift of a follow.
Absolutely. Sure. So I texted Ben and I was like, on the graphic, can you actually change Dodgers to 3 and Rangers to 4? And here was my separation. First, the Dodgers do have a better record, but the Rangers have a better run differential because they have been murdering teams. But I was watching this Dodgers versus Twins series, and I was watching the Ranger series, but I'm like, when the Dodgers are on, I'm like, they're going to win 100 games again, aren't they? Like, they beat you in all angles. When the Rangers, they can't beat you in all angles. The Dodgers bullpen is far and away better. The rotation, I'd still take the Dodgers. I still would. Like, Eovaldi is on one right now, but I'd still take the Dodgers.
No, it's fair. Offensively, Kershaw and Arias,
offensively, the Rangers have been murdering baseballs. I do not want to take anything away. They're 4. I love the Rangers right now, but Mookie Betts, Freddie Freeman, Will Smith,
Miguel Rojas,
and Max Muncy leads the league in home runs. Miguel Vargas has been great. Hayward has been good. Peralta's heating up.
Yeah, I can get
Outman is the rookie of the year right now. They're good defensively. I'm just like,
my counter argument is they start Miguel Rojas.
They do start Miguel Rojas. They do. And the Rangers don't really have like a Miguel Rojas right now.
That's the one thing they have working in their favor.
Yes.
But no, I'm again, this is one flip-flop it either way. I just wanted to make a little Rangers case.
It's almost like, remember that point that you made about 2 weeks moving forward?
Yeah.
I think it's still the Dodgers. I have more confidence in them. And I think we're going to look at the end of the year. The Astros are going to win the West and the Dodgers are going to win the West.
Yeah.
They're going to be remember when we put the Rangers over the Dodgers? So I made that little switch, but it doesn't take anything away from the Rangers. They're 4th in OPS right now, but I would argue that they are the best offense in Major League Baseball right now. I just think they just attack teams. I saw this stat where they lead Major League Baseball in 5-run innings, like an inning where they score 5 runs or more. When they attack, they just attack. Josh Young is insane. Marcus Semien is just every single day. It's 2 for 5 with a run and RBI. It's like clockwork for him. They absolutely roll, and Adolis Garcia has been the run producer in Major League Baseball.
Can I say one thing about the Rays? One thing about the Rays, because they're number 1, and I think they're going to get better. Went back and watched Tyler Glasnow's rehab start. So fucked up. Yeah. He went 4 innings, 9 Ks, 3 hits, no runs, 1 walk, hit 100 miles an hour. He struck out Peyton Henry on a 100-mile-an-hour fastball. Just toying with dudes, just literally blowing fastballs by guys, got bored, started just going slider heavy, got bored, started going curveball heavy, striking guys out with that. It was unbelievable to watch. Tyler, assuming he can stay healthy, obviously the Rays ain't getting any weaker, getting that guy back there. So it was cool to see, at least right now, that he's back and healthy. It's just is he going to tweak something or not? But in terms of his arm health, right now, when he's on the mound, looks like Tyler Glasnow, the one that we know.
Also, just to end it, just a team we haven't touched on at all, Atlanta Braves. I mean, Kyle Wright, Max Fried on the IL. And I wrote in the article, I was like, it doesn't matter. Obviously that's harsh, and I don't mean any disrespect for Fried or Wright. I'm just like, Bryce Elder has stepped up. Charlie Morton continues to defy Father Time because his curveball might be the best curveball in Major League Baseball. They just win ball games.
Strider's
one of the
best arms in the game.
They just win ball games. Even we saw that Strider didn't even have a good start. He went up against Nate Eovaldi. Guess who won that game?
Yeah,
the Braves. They're too much. Michael Harris isn't even playing well.
No. Yeah.
Sean Murphy might be the MVP. Like we talk about best catcher in baseball, it's Sean Murphy.
No, there's like 5 guys right now, like, and then Adley, and like catching positions getting real good.
Real good. And they're too damn good. Ron Acuna Jr. is the MVP.
I don't have it in front of me, but there's no way there's another team with 4 guys that have 10 pumps, right?
No,
the A's.
The A's. They don't. Does Rooker have 10?
I think he has 11.
Yeah, they got one guy with 10. So yeah, Murphy has 10, Olsen has 11, Albies has 10, and Acuna has 11. Ozuna, that motherfucker, has 8.
Shit.
Yeah, he's got 8. Like what? Kevin Pillar has 5. Like this is just one of those teams, man. And that's like without Austin Riley really being Austin Riley. He's got 7 though.
Yeah.
Like
and Austin Riley, it's so funny looking at Braves fans. They're like, oh, he got his money and now he hasn't been good. I'm like, can you give him a second, please?
He's always a second half guy.
Always a second half guy. Like Braves fans, have we been watching the Braves?
He doesn't care. It's crazy.
It's crazy. So that'll do it for the power rankings. Now it's time. Or Jack, do you have any? Are you here?
I'm here. Yeah.
Do you have any points on that 5? What do you think?
No, it's a good list.
It's a good list.
Good job.
All right.
I offered my thoughts on Rangers Dodgers.
That's true. You did. You absolutely did. All right. Yeah. Let's draft my So Rare team right now. So in the episode description, we are hosting a fantasy baseball league on So Rare, which is completely free. Build your team and lineups lock. What time, Aram?
Whenever the first game is, it would be today for those that are listening. Whenever the first game is, so definitely get that up.
The first game is until 6:40, so
right.
We have plenty of time. Let me go to my So Rare team. So funny, Bryce Miller is as expensive as Shohei Ohtani and Spencer Strider.
Yes, so for the first, and this is an important wrinkle in this, a reminder, because like we're able to get Peter to draft a new team here so that we can do this like exercise with you guys. So basically the first team that you draft, you'll have those cards the rest of the year. So you want to pick some teams that you think are going to do well in the short term player wise, but also in the long term. You have a budget of what is it in front of you? 120 points, right, Peter? And
120 points based
on how good each player is in the eyes of So Rare, and generally it's going to be fairly accurate. There's some areas to expose. The more expensive a player is going to be in points. So you want to find some dark horses, underrated guys, so that you have more money to get the crown jewels, the blue chippers, right? Like you want to pick up an Acuna, but that's going to cost you. So, you got to make it up with a cheap reliever or a cheap left fielder or whatever it may be. Don't copy this team because it's a competition, in our league. You can theoretically, I guess, because then, you get rewards and you'll be able to get more cards. And that's the thing. Every competition you enter, if you finish pretty well, you'll win another card. And then you can now plug that card in your lineup. So your team will get better and better and better. And again, we're giving away prizes in this So Rare league where you can compete against us and other Just Baseball listeners, readers, however you consume Just Baseball content. That link again is in the description, but let's draft Peter's team. And again, let's see if people, where people differentiate with their squads.
You can also follow my lead and just get dogs and punt on relievers and grab Yency Almonte.
You got Almonte?
I grabbed Yency. I mean, like it was get somebody for like $4 or something. It
was like diamonds. The 4 points.
Yeah, 4 points, diamonds, coins,
I
gems.
think it's diamonds. Yeah.
I don't know. I got them for 4 units.
For 4?
Yeah.
All right. So what position do you start with, Peter?
So I'm starting with starting pitcher. And because we're going to have these guys for a long season, I'm buying low on some guys. I grabbed Sandy and I grabbed Scherzer. They're very inexpensive right now in terms of starting pitcher. Could that bite me in the ass? Is it square? Yeah, kind of, but I have Sandy Alcantara and Max Scherzer on my team. Screw you. And then I'm also going to grab Kyle Bradish because I do think that he is developing into a very good starting pitcher. So right now I am scrolling through the relievers. Should I grab Ronaldo Lopez? No. No. I want
Liam Hendricks is coming back. Shout out Liam Hendricks, man.
Shout out Liam Hendricks.
Throw a live PP today, and then he'll be back. Yeah.
All right. Who should I grab in the reliever spot? Is Joe Jimenez healthy?
I think so.
I'm grabbing him.
He's not closing games. Minter's closing games, right?
I know, but I love Joe Jimenez.
Minter stinks right now, though. They might relegate him.
Who's closing games for him? Is it Minter or is it?
And also, so for clarification for those listening too, like the first league weeks will be the 22nd. That's game week 16. And if you have a limited team, so those are going to be the limited cards. They're So Rare is going to be giving away 5 MLB.TV subscriptions for the limited competitions. But then again, also in the basic competitions that we're drafting right now, we'll be giving away merch and other things, just baseball related if you win that. So I might even give away some baseball cards for those who win that. Again, May 22nd, but sign up with the link in our podcast description. So Peter, what reliever did you go with?
So I went with Joe Jimenez on the Braves. I think he's nasty.
What's the next position?
And right now we're doing corner infield. I'm going to grab Devers because I do believe he's going to bounce back, and he's still relatively cheap. He's 17.
Maximum is 20.
Yeah, max is 20. I think he's going to bounce back, but I need a little bit of a cheaper option at corner infield to save some money. Ty France has been on a tear. I'm grabbing Ty France. In middle infield, it's funny. Mookie's
Remember, it's fantasy score too. So like guys that like steal bags, like it's underrated.
I grabbed G1 Bay as a base stealer, like for dirt cheap.
Oh, you're nuts. Your team's going to come in last.
I have a
join our So Rare league so you can pummel Jack.
It's fine.
Again, I'm gonna buy low on Trey Turner.
Ooh, I do. What was his price?
14.
Oh wow. Yeah, that's a no-brainer. There's no way Trey Turner stinks.
Middle infield. Oh shoot. I thought Wander was 10, but that's a picture of Francisco Mejia. And I was like, oh my God.
Francisco Mejia for 10? I would get 5.
Yeah,
you know who else
is?
You know who else is 10 that I'm grabbing on the cheap? Jeff McNeil. Give me him.
Ooh.
I don't really have like a big bopper yet, but I have 15 per position. So I could get someone who's 20 and then get someone who's 10. But the guys who, oh my God, Josh Lowe is 20. What a star.
Josh Lowe's 20?
Josh Lowe's 20. I'm grabbing Acuna.
Yeah. So now Josh Lowe is 20?
Yeah, Josh Lowe is 20. How sick is that, Arm?
My goodness, my guy. That fires me up.
Okay.
He steals some bags, he hits for power.
But I grabbed Acuna because they're both the same price. I think that's
so absurd. Well, also remember too, with So Rare, you own the card, so like you're gonna have that card for his career. So like I think this is young guys are always gonna be a little bit more valuable too.
Okay, that makes sense. I'm going to grab
for 10 gems.
For 10 gems, there's one guy who just, if I didn't draft him, I would hate myself. George Springer is 10. He's going to bounce back. He's going to be
$10 or 10 points for George Springer.
Check out this
gems.
Check out 10 gems. Check out this team. So this is the team I'm submitting for our fantasy baseball league. Remember, it's completely free to download. It's in the episode description. Join our league. Draft your team before Friday at 6:40 because that's when lineups lock. And if you think you're big and bad, you think you can beat us, prove it. Prove it on So Rare. So my starting pitching staff is Sandy, Scherzer, and Kyle Bradish. My relief pitcher is Joe Jimenez. My corner infielders are Devers and Ty France. My middle infield is Trey Turner and Jeff McNeil. And my outfielders are Acuna and George Springer. Good luck. I am fucking dominant.
You're betting on bounce backs, though.
Yeah, I'm betting on bounce backs. Saving a little bit of money. Maybe it's a little bit overrated team right now, but I'm winning this shit.
So again, click that link in the episode description and you can join that league, compete against us starting the 22nd, but also encourage you to just play So Rare. It's really fun. And then for those who want to roll a little bit higher, from May 22nd all the way till the final competition of game week 26, which is June 26th, they are giving away 5 MLB TV subscriptions for those who enter the limited competitions. I bought like a bundle to enter those. You can buy like a bundle of limited players for like X amount and it fills out your team. That's what I did on there. So I was able to play the more limited competitions. And then when I do the limited competitions, you win limited cards. So in doing so, you're able to continue to fill out your team without putting any money additional into it. So there's 2 ways to do it, but the free way you can start to add valuable cards too. It just takes a little bit longer, but I have a blast doing it that way too. And I'm excited to compete against everybody. I think it's gonna be pretty fun. Again, reminder that the link is in the description and it helps us out that they know that we sent you because we like working with them.
And that'll do it for this Friday episode of the Just Baseball Show. Remember, we are powered by BetMGM. Use code JBFans. It's JBFANS when betting on MLB. Wager $10 on any MLB game when you download and receive $100 in bonus bets, up to $200 in bonus bets, depending on your state. And what BetMGM is doing is awesome right now. Every Wednesday and Saturday, they're just giving you free money in your account. Bonus bets every Wednesday and Saturday. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. The best way to support the Just Baseball Show is also to get your Just Baseball merch. I'm rocking my shirt right now. Arm's rocking the rope hat. Get yours in the episode description. But if you don't want to spend a dime, no worries at all. If you could rate this podcast 5 stars, whether that be on Spotify or Apple Podcasts, and if you enjoyed this episode on YouTube, hit that subscribe button, hit that like button, and comment if we're crazy on these power rankings. Tell us where you disagree, maybe where you do agree in the comment section on our YouTube. And with that, thank you, everybody.